Okay then, welcome to you all for this day one session on SAP HANA. So what I'll do is today I'll try to just go through the overall idea on this SAP HANA. So initially I'll be going a little slower so that you can understand. There are some experienced people as well as freshers as well as mid-level people from different areas. So we'll go for one phase initially, then after that we can see that how we'll try to adjust with the time. Okay. And so coming to this today's class, then what I'll do is I'll try to give some introduction, and I think mostly there is some sound. So I think question, I'll try to mute you so you can unmute if you want to speak. All right, or you can raise your hand so that I can just take care of any doubts. So what we'll do is we'll try to have some discussion first. Once the discussion on any particular topic is done, any small doubts we have, we can discuss, because we'll not waste a lot of time during the session, because after the session, for example 9 to 10 is what we planned, then within this timings, then what we'll do is we'll try to cover the subject maximum. Then after that, small doubts we can just have it little later. Okay. Fine. So normally for certification, we'll be having two courses. One is HA 100 and another is HA 300. So these are the two courses which are required for certification purpose. And I'll be covering this both so that you can take up the certification later also. And in SAP HANA HA 100, they'll give the introduction to SAP HANA. Okay. And the majority of the course, what we're going to cover during our course will be like, I'll just go to my website, e2technologies.in, and let me go to the trainings, what I'm trying to give for. So these are contents which I'll be covering for the course.
Ready?
Yeah.
We're not able to view the screen.
View the screen.
You need to share it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You able to
Okay.
share now? Okay.
Yes.
So now I'll be going through this particular topics. So any doubts you have it, you can go to e2technologies.in/HANA. So we'll be covering SAP HANA 2.0 course contents. And first I'll be going through the SAP HANA introduction. Then what is SAP HANA architecture and in-memory strategy. Then within the architecture, we'll be going through your architecture overview, row store, column store, then data modeling, then reporting, then your persistent layer, the backup and recovery. Then we'll go for mostly of your SAP HANA modeling, right? Then I'll be going for the connecting the tables, what type of joins we try to make between your tables. Then we'll go for standard unions and union with constant values. So during the SAP HANA modeling, then and table creations, we'll go for some of the table creations within SAP HANA. Then we go for advanced modeling. And advanced modeling will be creating your attribute views, right? Then analytical views and calculation views. All the three, even though we are not using attribute views and your analytical views, still I'll go through because some of the projects may be, or some of the clients may be using still the older systems, SP9 or SP8. Okay. Then we'll be going for advanced modeling. So here, even the people who are not having, the participants who are not having any SQL knowledge, so we'll be going from scratch. Then there is another extension to your SQL, that is your SAP's proprietary language. So we call this an SQL script. Okay, so I'll be discussing about the SQL script. Then your SQL script implementation logic. We'll be going for creating your database procedures, then creating your scalar and the table type functions. Okay, then what are the different engines what we have in your SAP HANA. In detail, we'll try to discuss on your advanced modeling. Okay, and the same SQL script and the procedures, then calculation views. Okay, then we'll be going for your currency conversions. So this all will be going through your SAP HANA database, tables, as well as modeling, then currency conversion. Then after that, we'll be going for your security and authorizations, how to create users at the database level, how to create roles. Then after that, how to give some privileges to the tables as well as functions, as well as your reporting objects, right? So we need to control what data you have to give to an user, right? So we'll be having an analytical privileges. So all the security will be covered within this particular area. And in order to extract the data from different systems, databases, applications, then we'll be using your SLT. Okay, data provisioning is a concept what we'll be using it. So one of the method which you use in order to get the real-time data will be your SLT. So I'll be covering the SLT here. Then after that, we have smart data access. Okay, then we'll try to extract the data from a flat file. Then after that, we'll be using the tool called BODS, BO Data Services. So this is all ETL part which we'll be using here. So I'll just go through the link here. Let me go to this panel. Okay. Then this section, normally we call this as an, let me check how it is. So this we call it as an ETL part of it, right? So extraction, transformation, and loading. So we'll try to extract it, then cleanse the data as well as load into your tables within the system. So that is what we use it. So we'll be using SLT, SAP Landscape Transformation. Then after that, we'll use Smart Data Access, then your SAP Data Services in this. All right, we'll be using Smart Data Services. Then we'll be using your flat file data in order to get the data from different systems. Okay. Then let me go for this. So once your ETL is done, then we'll be going for the reporting part, SAP BI reporting. So that is your SAP HANA layer, then installing your client software, then connectivity with your BO servers, then crystal reports, ODBC, JDBC. So this one, crystal reports, I may or may not take it, right? Then we'll be going for SAP BO Web Intelligence. Then we'll be going for SAP Design Studio to SAP HANA. So this Design Studio, now we call it as an Lumira, right? Lumira 2.0, it is integrated. And we have analysis, advanced analysis for MS Office. So that we call it as an AAO. So that also I'll be taking up in how to make the connections. So we call this as an AAO tool there. All right. This is known as your AAO. So we call it as an AAO tool. So that is advanced analysis for MS Office. Okay. There is one which will be using it. Then after this, we'll be using this creating, because we have some procedures in order to extract the data from your ABAP systems. So we'll try to use that also. That is your AMDP procedures for your ABAP programs. Right. So this is the curriculum which I have just designed for your native HANA. Okay. So now, any doubts from anyone? Any clarifications? Can make it up now.
I have a query.
Yeah.
So you will be covering both modeling and administration part of the HANA.
Yeah, administration is we cover only the security, because when you go for administration, that is a separate course again. And in administration, we have installation of SAP HANA, then security patches, then single sign-ons, then security also is covered in that, right? So there are different portions. That is for normally administrators. That is a separate course, but which is related to us, plus a little bit of security we'll be covering up in the security part of it. So there will be different areas which I'll try to show you up.
Yeah.
Say for example, when I go for SAP HANA, so in the server wise, first we'll be going for database creations, right? So normally we'll be working on tables. So we'll create some multiple tables for our modeling purpose, master data and transaction data tables. So once the database tables is being done, then we'll be going for modeling. So that is, we'll be trying to create your analytical views. Okay. Then after that, calculation views, we'll try to create it. So this part is your OLTP part, online transaction processing. So OLTP tables. And the top one here, we'll be using this as an OLAP. So this acts like a data warehouse, right? Now HANA is not only, for example, if you see Oracle, now Oracle is mainly used for what? Only storing the tables and the data. For example, I have some application, bank application or finance application. Say for example, I have some bank application and I want to store the data, and this data, whatever I'm trying to feed it, will go into a table and sit here. And finally, when I want to do some reporting on this, when I want to create some report on this, right? So the reporting, normally we don't want to, it will be slower in the table wise. So in order to have a faster reporting on this, what we'll do is we have to report on your OLAP, like data warehouses. What we do is we use some OLAP cube structure. This will be a table structure, and this will be a cube structure. So we call this an OLAP system. So now here your HANA is going to behave like an OLTP system, like a database it will try to store. And for analytical purpose, we'll be having your OLAP. So here we'll be going for database like a DBA, or like Oracle DBA you have, right? So here you will be working like a HANA DBA. So in the HANA DBA wise, creation of tables, maintenance of the tables, then we'll be creating some procedures here. Now you'll be creating some procedures. Then you'll be creating some functions. Then you'll be creating some, say for example, triggers. Then you'll be creating some synonyms. Okay. So functions, procedures, triggers, synonyms and all will be coming here, and as well as your tables creations. That is the first one. So we'll be going for your tables as well as views. Okay. So then all things will be at your database level. And when you go for OLAP, then we have to do your modeling part, which will be there. So now, but in order to get the data from different source systems, say for example, I have Oracle data. or SAP ECC is there. SAP ECC is there. Like for example, SAP Finance is there. Material Management is there. They all store the data in your database. Now, in order to get the data from this particular database, then what I have to do is I have to use some tool in order to cleanse the data and push into this particular database of HANA. So in order to get the real-time data, then we use an intermediate one more server called SLT. So this database gets connected to SLT and SLT will connect to your HANA system, right? So here we'll have real-time as well as batch loadings. Real-time means the moment any new transaction is being created, any new record is created here, record number 1 is created here, order number 1 is created here. That means when he saves it, it is saved in a database as order number 1. The moment it is created here, what SLT will do is it will try to take this order and directly create this within the HANA system also. We have an order number 1 created within the same second. So I can have the report to the second information, whatever is there in the ECC, I can just view this data within your HANA database. For that, we have a real-time system called SLT. Now, SLT means what? Every second means whenever the data comes, it tries to load it. Then what will happen is if you have some millions of records, then performance will be slower here. So in order to load some huge volumes of data, then what you will do is we'll try to plan it in such a way that every minute or every hour, normally in BW we take every hourly, right? Say in batch, when you want to load over a period of time, then the best tool to be done is your BODS. There is another tool called BODS. BO, this is your business objects data services, right? This is the tool, and it is an ETL tool, the best ETL tool for SAP. But in the market, the best number 1 ETL tool will be Informatica. But that is not our product. So we'll be using our product for that. Say from Oracle, we'll collect to BODS. From BODS, we'll be connecting to your HANA database. Now, this is your ETL part, and so extraction from different systems can be your Oracle or SQL Server, any database, okay. And BODS is very powerful, where it connects to your databases as well as in-memory databases like HANA as well as Oracle in-memory databases, or it can go to your, say for example, Salesforce.com, which is a cloud-based system. So if BODS is there, it can connect to multiple systems, multiple databases, okay, and get the data and load into your HANA system. But for real-time data, and if it is your SAP ECC, then we will use an SLT system here. So SLT is known as SAP Landscape Transformation server. There is a separate dedicated server which is required. But we don't want to load the data every second, and the data keeps changing frequently. So we don't want to load this data into your HANA database. Then we'll be using one more interface called your Smart Data Access. This will be there within the HANA only, but I am trying to keep it. Okay, I'll not take this. So I'll take it here within the HANA only. So this, we call this interface as SDA, Smart Data Access. Smart Data Access is smartly, it will try to access from Oracle, say for example from Oracle. I don't want to physically load it, but the report should immediately see the data what is available here. So this gets connected through your Smart Data Access to your report. So if I have I want to extract some 100 data and see the 100 data records within my report, but I don't want to store physically in my HANA database, then the solution will be your SDA, Smart Data Access. So in BW, we can call it as a remote cube, right? Remote cube, what does it do? Or virtual provider, it tries to get the data from your remote source system without storing the data, and to the second information will be provided to the report. So this all this ETL, and we'll be using your flat files also. Flat file, right? We'll be using flat files in order to get loading this data from example Excel file is there, or CSV file is there, right? We have some XLS X file, or after that CSV file. Okay, these all files we want to load it into your database. Then I can go for your HANA database here. Got it? So this will be your reporting part. What we'll be doing with that. 1 minute. I'll take out this one. Where is the report? Okay, I'll take out some part of this. Okay, next coming to this. So once your ETLs is being done, and what is this? Let me go for this. Okay, so first thing what you'll do in native HANA is your database tables creations. Then as I told you, procedures, triggers, right, synonyms, functions, everything we'll be covering at the DBA level. So this is one part what you have to learn. Second part is the modeling, which is used for reporting purpose. The third will be your ETL part. And fourth will be your security. And fifth will be your reporting. Okay. So reporting, normally we use all the BO tools because SAP prefers to use business objects tools. That is, we'll be going for web intelligence. And for designing your universes, and because we want to report from OLAP tables, directly report using your WebI, this OLAP cubes, then we'll be using your web intelligence for this. And if you want to, this is a direct connection to your web intelligence without any modeling. But if you want to model again within the BO server and do the reporting for this, then for this particular database table, RDBMS level, then we have to use another tool, because for connections and all, we'll be using another modeling tool for your BO side. That is what we call it as an IDT. Information Design Tool. So this IDT tool, we have to join these tables. We have to get connected to this particular HANA server and make our modeling. Again, we'll do a separate modeling here. Okay, so we'll be using a separate modeling here. Just a minute. We'll be using a separate modeling tool here called IDT, and output of this IDT will be a universe. We call this as a universe, and this universe created, we'll try to push it to the BO server. Okay, and WebI will be using this universe. So there is a separate, so this will be a separate course. Actually, BO and all, the BO consultants' job is to connect to your databases like Oracle, HANA, SQL, BW, right? And do some modeling here and start reporting on this. So you'll be covering this BO modeler as a BO modeler also. You can go through all the things and all. And second, we'll be going for web intelligence. The second tool which will be using your Lumira. After Lumira, then we'll be using for AAO, Advanced Analysis for MS Office. Because in SAP BW, we had BEX Analyzer, right? Now SAP is telling that stop the BEX Analyzer and start using Advanced Analysis for Office itself. So this is an Excel-based tool which will be using the OLAP functionalities. Number 4, we'll be using your Excel itself directly. If you don't have any other licenses, only you have Excel, then you can go for Excel tool itself. So we'll be going through Web Intelligence, then we'll be using the Lumira, then Advanced Analysis for MS Office, then Excel. So these are the tools which you'll be using for your reporting part of it. Cool. So this will give you an overall picture of this. Now, this is the course for native HANA. On top of this native HANA, if your SAP BW is created, for example, I have my BW created here, SAP BW on HANA Database. So BW people will not use these cubes. They will be creating their own cubes within the BW. But this BW data will be stored directly in the tables. They'll be, because SAP BW consultants will try to get the data from, for example, some external systems like Oracle. From Oracle database, they'll pull the data and put into the cube. They have to load their data into the cube. Cube is again a physical representation of your HANA database tables, RDBMS tables here. And in order to do some cleansing here in the BW, here we use some ABAP coding. So this ABAP coding, we call it as an ETL part. In the BW, we call it as your transformations, right? There we use ABAP code in order to cleanse it. So because we don't want to use ABAP code here, but we want to consume this particular HANA itself directly, then we have to use some procedures called AMDP procedures. We'll be using AMDP. Procedures. They are database procedures only, which are specifically made for ABAP consumption. So whoever is using this BW or ECC, we can use this AMDP procedures. How to create this AMDP procedures, I'll try to show in the last of the session. Got it? So this is my overall picture of SAP HANA course of native HANA, because there are other BW and HANA is a separate course. Okay, what we'll be having. Then on top of HANA, we'll be having hybrids. There is a B2B and B2C commerce, right? Portal like Amazon. And this is again a separate course for this. Then we have Simple Finance. This is a separate course. This is a functional one. Simple Logistics. Okay, this is a separate one which will have it up. Then we have Ariba. Then we have for HR related success factor. Sitting on HANA. So HANA is the base for all your applications like ECC, BW, Hybris, Success Factor, so Simple Finance, then Simple Logistics, Ariba, Success Factor, all this application. You can create your own Java applications, right? You can create your own Java applications on top of this. Cool. Still, there are some programs which you'll be using, right? You can create your UEFI applications, UEFI web applications, that is your HTML5. So web applications as well as different applications will be running on your SAP HANA database. Okay, so any clarifications, please? Yep.
Simple Finance, Simple Logistics, Ariba, these are all the S4 HANA part.
Yeah, this is S4 HANA. Because the table structures and the programs, now everything will be changed. Okay. So that is all functional only, right? It is equal to your finance only. But the finance system which is sitting on HANA database, so they are trying to use that and use it as S4 HANA. Okay, so that is for FIG configuration. It's the same finance application configuration, how you're doing it, that is what we'll try to do there.
So basically what we understand is SAP HANA is just the database part of it.
Yes, database, and you can use that as your data warehouse also.
Okay,
I'll come to that. So because regarding that features and what is advantages of HANA, I'll give an overview. Again, still we'll go to that. But because just I want to know, like anyone having some more expectations out of the course, or anyone having some uh, because someone might have gone to a lot of institutes and inquired a lot of things and all, right? So if someone is going something more or less, you can give me some idea of that. That should be fine. Okay then. So if any queries, you can call me up, right? So you have my numbers so that I can clarify up. Okay then. So today, without wasting any time, because online we know that we have very less time. So because offline classes, we have at least 3 hours to 4 hours can spare up. But normally, even though you start at 8 o'clock, we need to finish it up within 10 o'clock in the night. Or we can keep in the mornings also. That the timings, I'll try to segregate these batches into online as well as offline classes. Okay. The people who are near to my institute in HSR layout, they'll be coming for offline classes, and the people who are on site as well as little far away from say for example HSR, then we can go for online. I'll try to segregate two batches for that, right? So no problems in this. So that I will decide and tell like what are the timings for offline as well as online classes. And again, online classes also, it is preferred in the early in the morning, or we try to have in the night times. We'll try to decide up. Okay. So I'll try to take a call from each and everyone, and I'll try to decide the timings. Cool then. So going for so topic of the day, just giving some introduction about the SAP HANA. So now you see nowadays of the growth of your digital world, then we see that in the last 2 years we have something 90% of the world data is being generated. Now as the data is getting generated, now the system performances will go down. When you want to extract the data from last 5 years, right? And if you want to extract the data of daily one, so daily one will be faster because the volume of the data is less. So as the data is growing up very faster, then handling this particular data is very difficult nowadays, right? This is the one. Next is in the next 2 years, we see that at least 40% of this growth will be there within your business networks. End of 2020, so 212 billion things will be connected, right? Like IoT is what, right? That is what expected. And 9 billion users in the world will be there by 2020. Then in 2014, so we can expect some 51% of the workloads will be processed within the cloud. Now one more is we have an on-premise HANA, and we have another course also, separate course for HANA Cloud. Means customer is not having, because he don't want to spend a lot of money in the infrastructure, purchasing the server. Then for development, he don't want to hire people for development, and he want to generate, or you want to build new applications. For that, again, you want to good some developers and all. So for that, in order to avoid all these things, then what happens again, every time maintenance, the patches, because SAP every 6 months, you know that SAP creates new patches, new versions and all. So in order to avoid all these things, then SAP is also having SAP HANA Cloud, so that just subscribe to this, pay monthly for that, right? And SAP is going to subscribe and provide all the services, hardware services as well as software as well as development services. All these three things SAP is going to provide it. So that is what we call it as cloud, right? HANA Cloud. So what we're going to do in the course is an on-premise one, not cloud-based course. All right. So I'll just show that, like how cloud one is. Okay, I'll just show later because I don't want to confuse. I don't want to confuse with the cloud and this one. And previously, different landscapes are being used up, right? So for example, for manufacturing, I have a separate software. Finance, I have a separate software, and the programs and the logic is different. And we used to store the data in Oracle. So another system will be your Informix, DB2. So like this, we have different databases, different softwares. I may be using Oracle, then I'll be using SQL, or I'll be using SAP, or I'll be using your JD Edwards, right? Different systems, different databases, different languages. Then finally, what we have to do is when finance data, sales data has to be passed to the finance, right? Again, we'll be using your ETL tools like Informatica or BODS or something, and we have to do a lot of cleansing. We have a lot of junk of systems because I need to synchronize the data from multiple systems. Then we need to write a lot of routines in this, programs in this, cleansings in this, inside this. A very cumbersome task for us. That is the real-time thing what is happening. I've seen some customers like HP or something, they have their own tools developed, and finally they want to integrate with multiple systems, and I have seen that it's all shattered. Look, they have such a procedure, they have different clients, different databases, different systems and all. So integrations, normally we use PI also within the SAP, right? But normally clients develop their own tools also in order to get the data cleansed and synchronize the data. But when we come to SAP HANA, we're going to have huge volumes of data stored up. Then we can use the logics within the single system and have your all apps within the single system, right? So it's all the unified workloads. We can just make it within your system itself. So as in the discussion in the first class, what I was telling us, like what is actually basically SAP HANA? So this is for the people in order to get some small idea on what we're going to use. What is an SAP HANA is. Let me take it out. Yes, I'll try to take like this. Previously, like what we had is, for example, I make this one a little bigger. And say, for example, this is my hard disk, HDD. So this is your disk. Now, when I try to first, what you have to do is, if you are installing SAP or any other application, first we have to create your database, right? So in the hard disk, in one small portion, then I will take up this particular database. So for example, this is hard disk, you think it. So within the hard disk, this database, okay, I'll take this. This is my Oracle database. Oracle database, right? Now, in SAP, for example, if I take an SAP wise, so what we have an application server, or I'll take this as a RAM. So this is my RAM here. On top of the RAM, I'll install in the hard disk itself, I'll have my application server. So this will be running on this. I'll have your application server. So this is my ABAP application server. Now what I do is, like for example, I have a report to be generated, and this report has to show me, like from last 3 years, how is my growth of the company. This is a chart. So the request, if I want to get the data and extract this report here, first the application has to talk to your application server. This is your ABAP application server. The application server will go to your database, and from your database is stored in your hard disk. So from the hard disk, for example, from Oracle database, there will be a table here. That is, for example, your sales table. And for example, the sales table, I have some 1 million records. Now this 1 million records, if you're trying to fetch, this is from last 1 year sales, you want to have it from Jan to December. Then it makes a selection here, application server will make a selection, fetch this 1 million records and pull this data from this database, and always it has to upload this into your RAM. So this 1 million records, 1M is 1 million records, is pulled into your RAM. In the RAM, the data gets aggregated. Say for example, aggregated mean to say, for example, I have material M1, the quantity is 10. Material, another transaction, M1, you purchased 20. Same material, but different order. This is order number 1, order 2, order 3. So this order number 3, for example, I make it, say for example 30, another 20. But I don't want to see order wise data, but I want to see material wise M1, what is the total sales done. Then in the memory, what happens is, from the database, it will extract into the memory 3 records. But finally, we want to see what total quantity sold for your material M1. Then I have to aggregate this data, means I have to do a sum here. Sum of your total quantity of your material M1 sold. For example, if it is a Sony TV. So total how many quantity you purchase means 40, 50. So you'll aggregate this as sum and you'll give it as 50. So in the memory there are 3 records, but the output in the report, it will show as what? M1 is equal to 50 as the report output. So even if 1 million records are there in the RAM, after aggregation, then what will be there? For example, only 1000 records is being transferred to your report. But the time taken here in the memory is calculation. It may take, say for example, 5 minutes. Cool. And normally if you see a normal database, so this database will be how much? Approximately 2 TB of data. Hard disk may be 2 TB, or I can take, say for example 4 TB, I want to double it, or I can take it as 10 TB. 10 TB is sufficient for our enterprise data to be stored. And if you see the RAM, normally it will be approximately, say for example 256 GB RAM or 512 GB RAM. This is all in GB. So enterprise servers will be having, normally your laptop will be having how much? 8 GB RAM. Maximum is 16 GB RAM. But servers will have 256 or 512. And the whole organization data, sales, finance, material management, purchasing, all the data will be stored in your hard disk within the Oracle database. Right? So this is how your reporting or applications will be pulling the data and utilizing it. So select from the database, it has to pull to your RAM. So from the RAM, it has to calculate and display to your server. But now what is happening is, customers are not happy with the time what they're trying to provide for giving the report as an output. If it takes half an hour for me, for example, if it is not 1 billion, say for example it is 1 billion records, then again it is going to become more. It may take half an hour to 1 hour in order to fetch the data. So what SAP is trying to do now is, in order to get the data faster, now in order to move the data faster or retrieve the data faster, so what are the 2 things what you have to do in the hardware side? First is, you will think that this system will again have the server will have some processors, CPUs. Say for example, there are 4 CPUs already existing here. Intel CPUs, 1, 2, 3, 4 CPUs are there. Right? Now, here what happens is, if 4 CPUs are there and we have 512 GB RAM, now in order to make it faster, what I will do is, instead of 4 CPUs, I will have some 10 CPUs. So if you keep 10 CPUs, then what happened? So system processing will be faster within the memory. Right? Secondly, if your RAM is 512 GB RAM, then make it double, then it becomes 1 TB. then still your report will be extracted faster. Still, if you want to make more faster, instead of 2 TB, double this RAM to 2 TB here. 1 TB, then put double to 2 TB. So which is going equal to your hard disk itself. That means if 2 TB RAM itself you have, then why to store this particular data from your hard disk, again pull it into your RAM? So what SAP is doing is, now we can have 4 TB also RAM. Then this 2 TB data for the enterprise, and the database itself which is there, will create directly in the RAM itself, right? We'll store this whole data within the RAM itself. So this database which is created directly in the RAM itself is nothing but SAP has made their own database, which will be created or which will be installed directly within your RAM itself, not in hard disk. So this in-memory database, so this database is known as in-memory database called HANA. Okay, so HANA means high performance analytical appliance. Appliance means what? Hardware. HANA is basically a hardware which has got huge volumes of CPUs expansion. The server will be there, which you can have huge volumes of your CPUs as well as RAM also. So now instead of 4 TB, I can go for 10 TB. So I've seen customers, right? They have gone to 60 TB also. 60 TB of RAM. Not a smaller size, now it is going to be in bigger size. Instead of 1 CPU, I'm going to have 10 CPUs or 20 CPUs. So that server is supporting it. Okay. So just like your whole enterprise data, like 60 TB, mean the whole data will come, plus for processing also, not only storage, right? For example, if I take this much of RAM, so this much of data is database will be created here, right? So for example, here it is 10 TB. So I'll store the data within 10 TB, and remaining, say for example 50 TB, I will use this data for processing speed also here. So huge volumes of data is there for me for processing also. Cool. So this is what we call this as an in-memory database. So this is an SAP owns database. SAP has created its own database. What they call it as an HANA database, right? So coming to SAP HANA, then I'll try to show up here. You don't want to move it. So this is SAP HANA 2.x. The version, this is known as your version, right? So previously we had version 1.x. Okay, so before we had 1.x, but from last 1 year, so we had 2.x. So x may be 0, 1, 2, but they normally kept it as x itself here. So version 1, and always every 6 months SAP will do some more small changes, some advanced features they'll try to put into your server, and they release as a support pack as this, right? So currently we have a version here is 2.x and SP, right? Now the latest version is SP02, but previously when it was 1, right? So 1.x, then it was 2, 1, 2 pack, then 3, something came up like 10, then the last service pack was SP12. So some clients, most of the clients has not yet gone to 2.x. I think mostly 60% might have gone it, but still 40 to 50% will be still in SAP HANA 1.x SP12. Right? So just log in into the SAP HANA server, and I'll try to show you normally how to check the service packs and how it will be there. So let me go to SAP HANA Studio. And one more thing. So the main idea of your SAP HANA is this. In normal databases, what will be there is your all enterprise data, your database will be sitting on the disk, right? So from the disk here, say I'll take here, this is your disk. So this is your disk, and normally your Oracle database will be there here normally, right? So from here, what we used to do is we used to pull the data into your main memory here, and in the main memory you will have all your records here. Now this data has to be aggregated, right? So as I told you, M1 is equal to 10, 20 and 20, total should be 50. Now who is going to do this calculation? So calculation will be done by your CPU, right? The CPU will do the calculation and throw the result to you as 50 here. This will give as an output to your database. And if you see the comparison here, you can see this hard disk. If any task has to be completed, normally it takes 10 million nanoseconds. And we have, this is a rotating, revolving disk, but we have in a solid state disk, like your pen drive, no revolving, so directly will be used within your chips. So the same task can be completed within 200k nanoseconds. And if I want to give an internal RAM within the server itself, we have some internal RAM, inbuilt RAM. So it takes approximately 60 to 100 nanoseconds. And within the CPU, this is your CPU, we'll have L1 cache, L2 cache and L3 cache. So this for calculation purpose, storage and calculating. So it will take 15 nanoseconds. See here, from here to here, there's a lot of difference. 15 nanoseconds, 4 nanoseconds and 1.5 nanoseconds, or you can think as 1 nanosecond. So this is 1 nanosecond and here it is 10 million nanoseconds, right? Approximately 10 million times it is taking more here. But if you compare here, for example, if you take 60 nanoseconds and your disk will take some 200k nanosecond, 200,000 nanoseconds. So we don't want to, this is a speed difference what we want to get it up here, right? So normally previously we used to have this speed. For example, if it is disk, then we used to take this much time. We want to reduce this time to 60 nanoseconds. 100 million nanoseconds to 60 nanoseconds, you want to reduce this particular speed. Instead of storing the disk in this, because we try to pull this, so from here the data is consumption. Again, we waste some time in getting the data here, loading the data. After this, normally what happens is you pull the data today, and tomorrow this whole data administrator will try to delete this because they cannot keep the whole data within the RAM. Previously that RAM is very costly and the size of the RAM storage also is 512 to 56 GB RAM only. So this whole data will be removed every day, or if data changes, automatically this will be deleted and new data will be brought from disk to your RAM. But now your HANA database will be created directly in the RAM itself, and your reports will extract the data from this RAM. Your data is there in the buffer 24/7. Got it? So then we try to do this. Cool. So let me go to the next slide. So when I come to this SAP HANA, or I'll give that the first, what is SAP HANA? So HANA is high performance analytical appliance. It is a set of hardware and software which uses latest in-memory technique, because we tell that the whole database is created within the RAM itself, which is used for a real-time analysis or huge volumes of data in seconds. We want to get this data in real time. We don't want to waste for 1 hour, 2 hours in order to get the report. So to the second information, we will be able to report on in seconds. Cool. And the version what we'll be using in the course is 2.x, HANA Database version 2.x SP2. Okay. And this is only just a small lab test which is done by SAP. Say for example, with using SAP BO Explorer, we're able to extract the data within 0.12 seconds, right? So how many number of records? 3223, 3339, 52. Oof. This much data is coming within not even second also, it is within your thousands of a second, right? Then I think that should be good. We don't require even SAP BW also. Warehouses are not required. Directly ECC also, if you're using HANA database, we can fetch the reports and start reporting without your HANA database, BW database. Okay, this is only just lab test. It depends on the RAM and other things and all. It depends on, but still we can check it out. Now HANA has got now here in memory row store, right? There is a P time, and SAP has got its own in memory row storage also. And for the backup, we got SAP MaxDB, or you can use other databases. So whenever power goes off, right, the whole data, whatever is there within the enterprise data is stored in the RAM, the whole database will be cleared off, or we can say wiped off. But we should have a backup of the whole data, right, again to be reloaded again when power comes up. So for that, we'll be using a backend database in order to store the data for this. So mainly we use HANA for OLTP, for your online transaction processing, that is your transaction system, as well as for your reporting system also. So reporting is what? It is an OLAP system. So it's a combination of OLTP as well as OLAP. We can use it as in data warehousing as well as your ERP transactional systems for this. And SAP has started this development from 2009, right? December 2009, they started the development. Okay. So coming to this SAP HANA, so it is a set of hardware as well as software, both. Hardware side, now what happens is we can have multiple CPUs within the server, which will boost up the performance. And we can have more RAM, for example, in TBs. And SAP tells that it can have a data throughput of 100 GB per second. 100 GB of data per second is the throughput from the server for your reporting or processing side. So hardware side, we have two innovations on this. One is your CPUs. I mean to say, like, say for example, when you go for one CPU itself, and within one CPU, you can have multiple cores within this. For example, I can have dual core, quad core, right? So within one CPU, always we have some cores. The more the cores, the faster the processing. We can process this in parallel. More parallel processing can be done, and the faster the response for this. So we can have 8 into 10. So for example, 8 cores and 8 to 10 cores, 10 CPUs. It is going to be 80 core, right? So then parallel processing is faster than the system wise, it is best for us, right? Cool. So this is the hardware side. And when you come to the software, now HANA is going to store the data in a row base as well as in your column store. We know row store as normal, your RDBMS tables store the data as a row store, but we have a special storage within HANA. So what we call it as a column store. And this we'll discuss in detail tomorrow. Okay. So what is a column store and how do we store and what are the advantages of using your column store? The second advantage within your HANA is data is compressed. So by compression, the data storage will be less within the storage component, that is your RAM, and retrieval will be faster for us. And how we do the compression and what are the different type of compressions, what happening within the HANA. So we'll be discussing tomorrow itself. Second is partitioning, and the third one is no aggregates necessary. So the aggregates will be understood by the people who are working in SAP BO already. business objects. So in SAP BO, we use summary tables. And for SAP BW people, so we use aggregate cubes, right? On top of a cube, we create aggregates. Now, SAP tells that if this data within the table is 100 GB per second throughput is there, then why do we need to create an aggregates? Okay. So in BW system also now aggregates are remote totally. There is no aggregates. We don't have the option to create any aggregate. Okay. And avoid expensive database operations like insert, delete and all will not happen. So in HANA we have insert only will happen. So what is that insert only we'll see in the next class. Okay. So hardware innovations. So now we have hardware servers which can have multiple cores. So the more the cores, more the processing power, and we can have your RAM counting with your TBs, not in GBs now. So like 2 TB or 8 TB, 10 TB, 20 TB, 40 TB, 60 TB. So we can have as much of RAM you want to use it, then start purchasing it. Okay, then the better the performance for you. And coming to your storage side, we have row store as well as column store. We do the compression of the tables and we do the partitionings. So you'll be learning compression, partitionings also within the course, right? And no aggregates necessary, and avoid expensive operations within your database. Cool. And mostly tomorrow, still I'll try to go. These are not all the functions of the SAP HANA. As I told you, SAP HANA is used for storing of your database, RDBMS tables, as well as we got OLAP functions like your data warehousing. We can create your cubes for modeling. Plus, within the HANA database, we'll be having a web server also, by which we can create your web applications. This is one area. Application services. So we have inbuilt web server so that we can create your Java application, JavaScript applications as well as Java applications. And we have got Fiori UI5 applications also created within the system. Plus we have different spatial, because geospatial analytics, graph analytics, predictive analysis. We have faster search, we have text engine within the server itself, HANA server. Okay, we have planning functions, then enrichment, series data application, and we have some function libraries also. All C++ libraries are already created for your functionality, like your finance functionalities, already we have it. So here are application function libraries, which will be having your BFL, business function libraries, okay, and PAL libraries, predictive analysis. So these are libraries which will be there inbuilt. So I don't want to again more confuse you, but only thing is we have different advanced features for your spatial, as well as text analytics, as well as your predictive analysis, right, and the planning applications. So we have more functions to be used up. And for the ETL part, right, in order to extract the data and get the data from different systems. So in HANA, we got Hadoop integration, we have streaming data, all your signals data can be a continuous data. It's not the, say for example, when I tell sales of yesterday or sales of last 3 months, the business has already happened, right? So we try to pull the data into your system. But there may be some tracking system which always continuously sends your signals, or there is a machinery which is trying to send the heat, how the heat temperature or the machine, what is the temperature that we can get from one system to other using your signals also. So streaming data we can get from, we can get the data into your HANA and start creating some reports on top of this. And we got remote data sync. Okay, so this is one more application what you have. So this is all the ETL part what you can have. So this is ETL is your BODS, which will be trying to take it up. SLT, BODS will be coming under this integration services. And next we'll go for your OLTP as well as OLAP, that is your column store as well as row store. Multi-core or parallelization, that is right. In the CPUs we have multi-core. So for example, you can have 8 cores, right, per CPU. So the more the cores, then faster the response. We got advanced compression, we got multi-tenancy. Okay, this is used for your cloud. When you use your cloud, then we have to use your multi-tenancy database. So we'll go in detail later for the multi-tenancy and other things. And we have multi-tier storage. Okay, so multi-tier means the data can be hot data, which is always used oftenly, will be using directly in the RAM, and the data which is not used often will try to remove from the RAM and keep in your disk. And still you're not using for years, then we can remove the data from the disk also and store within your backup devices like your tapes or your NLS servers and all. Okay, so how to do that management of your data, that will be dealt with your multi-tier. In SAP HANA, we can do data modeling also, like your data warehouse. And we have got in open standards where applications can read from your database. And we have high availability at disaster recovery technique also within the SAP HANA database. Okay, so these are your 4 types of services what we have in a HANA. One is your application services, second is processing service, third is your integration service, fourth is your database services. These all things will be there within this. Right, I think that will be cool for today, right? And again, we'll be catching up tomorrow. And these servers normally will be provided by HP. So there are some authorized vendors who sell the servers, and like HP, then Dell, IBM, Hitachi, then Fujitsu, then Cisco, right? So they all sell the servers, and you have to purchase the license, that SAP HANA license for the database, like how you install the Oracle software. Then you have to purchase the SAP software, and this has to be installed in your HANA server. Okay, so when you're trying to install your HANA server, the only operating system which will be supported is your SUNY Linux. Say for example, when I take the database, so you'll be having your database like this, and bottom will be your operating system which you have to install. So Windows is not supported, one is SUSE Linux or Red Hat. So only Linux systems you can install your HANA database. Okay, so on top of this OS we'll be loading this database. So whenever you load this database in the RAM, within the RAM your database will be started. Software will be loaded in the Oracle only, sorry, operating system. But when it starts this services, the whole database will be running in the RAM itself, 24/7. Okay. So in order to have a look on this, so this is my HANA Studio, and this is what we're trying to use it, because this is your SAP UEFI application, and you can develop your JavaScript programs inside this, not only database storages, because we have an inbuilt web server also within the HANA database, so that people can start using your XML data, then after JavaScript, HTML, right? Then JSON. So the different languages which will be supported, and you can develop all these applications directly. Okay, this is your HTML tags what you use it. Finally, when you see the report, so this is your UEFI application which will be used up. Okay, so this is all we try to develop within your web applications. But the people who are working in web development, okay, directly we can create your applications within the HANA server itself. And when you execute it within the HANA server, we have a web server called Access Engine. Okay, extended application server. So no need to have a separate web server again for that. So HANA has got its own web server inbuilt. So it processes it, and we can get the data directly here, and I can just test it out, right? When I'm trying to use this, and getting this application which will be used up. So this set of applications which are built in SAP S4 HANA, this set of applications which is already created by SAP, that is called as an Fiori. Fiori is nothing but a bundle, because now this application, I'll call this as UEFI. I'll try to take here. This is known as UEFI application. For example, I'm telling this is my employee details application, right? What is the name, what is department and role and all. So I'm trying to have all these things and all. For example, I'll make it as Ravindra. This is my UEFI application. SAP UI file, user interface file. This is nothing but HTML file. Version 5 application. Now SAP has created all these particular reports, applications, like sales order if you want to create it. Now this particular web screen is already created. So all these particular applications, apps which is created by SAP in a bundle, we call this as an Fiori. And this will be going to your SAP server, like for example Simple Finance, and bottom will be your HANA database. So this application will talk to your HANA database and I can retrieve the data and use it. So we can use SAP GUI also as well as your web applications. Now we will be learning this, and the web developers, they will learn this particular course. Okay, ABAPers will start developing some web applications in this. Cool. So this is how it is happen up. Storages and security, right? Getting the data from different systems and reporting on this using some different reporting tools like Tableau, Business Objects, ClickView, anything you can use it. Connected to this HANA database, again you can do some reporting on this. Or if you want to develop your own applications, Java applications or JavaScript applications, then this is the place where we try to do it up. Okay, fine. So this is one view. I'll try to close all here. So this is a place where I try to do some, for example, binding applications. Web applications here, for example, index, this is web pages. But if you want to do some modeling, then here I got a SAP HANA modeler. So technical discussion we'll have from tomorrow. So then tomorrow what I'll do is from SAP HANA Studio. So we'll discuss first on row store and column store database. What is row store, how the data is being storing in that. Then practicality, because after every theoretical I'll directly go to the server, and within the server I'll try to show some more presentations in this. Okay. So this is my SUSE Linux server, and we go to this. And so I'm remotely connecting my server. This is your SUSE Linux server. When I go to my computer, so you'll be having USR. This is the directory where your SAP HANA software is being loaded. Okay, SAP HANA database software will be loaded. And from USR, you'll be going for your USR, then SAP. Then my database name is HDB, HANA Database, HDB00. Within this, I have my file HDB. In order to start a database, HANA Database, or stop that HANA Database, so this is the file what you're going to execute. So I'll go to my open in terminal, give it as SU HDB ADM, HANA Database Administrator, info. So we can see that there is some different servers which are running in the database, like HDB name server, compile server, pre-processing server. This is for text engine, text processing. HDB DP server, data provisioning server, and index server. So this is the main server in which your database or data will be stored. That I'll be explaining in brief in your architecture, but I can see that my index server is already running here. Okay, and there is a script for procedures and all. For all your predictive analysis, we require a script server to be executed. So this is one what you have. Okay, this is one. Let me check within my server. Fine then, so today we'll close up at 10:30. So this is a main tool which you'll be using it. Say, let me say, for example, I'll be using this like this. So basically I created one HANA database. This is by server, and HDB server. This database ID will be HDB. And the server in which it is installed, say for example, it is given it as, I'll just check it out. Okay, I'll give it as, say for example, ABC system. ABC server. And this is our name. And here, for example, I've created my database. Now, in order to create any table within the database, we'll be having a front-end tool. So that is known as your HANA Studio. Okay, this is the HANA Studio which will be using it. So with the help of HANA Studio, we have to connect to the server. And if you want to create any tables, procedures, functions, this all things will be done with the help of HANA Studio. Or I'll go and call it as HS, HANA Studio. Okay, so all the users, developers will be working with your HANA Studio. Finally, create this within your HANA database. All the tables, functions, cubes, right? Functions, procedures, all these things will be creating in the HANA database with the help of your HANA Studio. Okay, fine. This is my HANA Studio, and I want to connect to my HANA server. So normally when you start your practice, so you'll be given the remote access so that we can practice it. After the demo, and after that I'll show one demo practical also. After that, once the class is completed, then you need to start practicing it within the server from your remote locations. So normally what you'll be using is, you'll be using one remote desktop connection to my server. Okay, so when you connect to this, so I'll give the username password for this. So directly from your remote system, you'll be connecting to my desktop. So from there you can, so no need to install any new software. So directly you need to have your laptop and you should have the internet connection, that is sufficient. So when connected to my remote server, then you can start practicing your HANA, as well as the BO tools and everything will be done within the database, within the remote server itself. Right, you can see here that these are all your schemas. For example, I have an Philips project. I'll go to the tables. Okay, or views, or I'll go for SAP ABAP 1. Go to the tables. This is all your HANA tables which will be used, right? We'll be creating your tables, then we'll be working on this. And if you want to see the data, click on open content. So no rights for this. Okay, so this is how we have, and for example, I go for W user 1. Okay, because most of the users have been deleted. Yeah, not authorized. So this is all the security comes up, right? So we need to give security and other things and all for this. Okay, user 2. I don't know, for this also securities are there. Yeah, not authorized. Okay. Fine. So we'll be creating new users also, because normally in other systems you'll not be able to create any users. So I'll give all the permissions in order to create your users. Okay. Then this is my system user. So system is this, and when I go to my tables here, EMP table, machine reference, HANA material. Okay, this is from other database. Okay, currently no data. So you'll be using your select star, whatever it is, and I can use material master, go for this, right, no data. CM100, metal group A, mat mast, this is a blank. Okay, no problem. So what I can do is, we have the data up there. So within your database side, we'll be using this particular, we'll be creating your functions, we'll be creating indexes, we'll be creating procedures, sequences, synonyms, tables, triggers, views. So this all things will be in the database level. And when we come to your modeling, so within the content, I'll be showing you how to create your models within this, right? Calculation views, analytical views, and other things and all. Okay. The modeling part. as well as technical, then ETL part, then smart data access, the reportings, all these things has to be there. This is all drag and drop through, so not much coding and all. Only SQL side, you have to have some SQL knowledge, but that will be also taught from the scratch. That is what we try to do. Okay then. So tomorrow, I think still our introduction is not completed for the BO side. So tomorrow I'll try to discuss all these details within the HANA, right? This is all your introduction, what we try to give it. How is your cloud platforms and what are the different development tools we want to use it. At least introduction itself, we will be taking some 3 classes approximately, okay? Then we'll go for your practicals and other things, how your SLT ETLs will be done. And we have got a new tool. Instead of BODS, SAP has developed one more tool called EAM, Enterprise Information Management, which will be having smart data access and smart data quality, SDQ, okay, and SDA and SDQ and SDI. These are the 2 things which are being used, okay. Access and access advanced. The modeling part. And we have web-based development tool also, which will be using up. That is your web IDE, okay. So there is some delta mechanism, more in technical. So we'll go slowly, okay. So that should be fine for us. There is HANA Live. Okay, before S4 HANA, HANA Live was used for your inbuilt data reporting and models. So once that is done, then after that I'll be going to HA300. So we have one more doc. Right, this is, we'll be going through your modeling. Okay, so there's a lot of things, the connecting tables, different type of joins. Then we'll be going for different type of models. So my thing is, in order to give you the perfect knowledge, so because there are a lot of people who try to just demonstrate, but I'll try to give you the in-depth knowledge, okay, in practical, as well as I want that, because 50% is from my side effects and 50% you people also have to put your efforts in the practice, okay. So without the practice, nothing is going to come out, okay. These all things we'll try to go through, and we'll have the practicals, and I'll give my own samples. And after that, finally, we have to, because in order to shoot your interviews and other things, we have to do some POC, the proof of concepts, and real-time scenarios for different projects. We need to do it up, okay. So we'll go through all the things and all. So we'll try to go one by one. So then after that, we have CDS views also nowadays, which is coming hot in the market now, okay, core data services. But this is a separate course for ABAP development of CDS and all. But still, I'll give some introduction to that. Okay, text search and other things and all, which will be dealt for this. Good. So this is all your spattle, right? Spattle development and all. For the reports and all has to be done using your altitude and latitude. Then we do latitude and latitude. We use this. Okay, geospatial analysis has to be done. Predict analysis functions for all your predict algorithms as well. We can use R language also. Okay, machine languages, we can use it. So big way to go on. So let's start the introductions and we can go for. Okay then, guys, I think it got too late. And any doubts from anyone? Anything you want to go for? Any clarifications? I'll just stop my recording.